Okay, so now that you've got your project together and you've got your chip programmed and you confirm that it works, now you need to power this thing up using the little screw terminals and a USB cable. So we're powering these with a USB cable. And so if you get a whole USB cable, that is one that hasn't been cut, you have to cut it in half. And the easiest way to make sure that you're cutting it dead center in half is untangle it, grab the two plug-in ends and hold them together, and then holding them together, stretch out the cable until you find the midpoint. And then you can just take a pair of side cutters and cut that in half. Now we're going to need to strip this to get to the wires that are on the inside. And first you're going to have to cut off that protective outer casing. So place the tip of your knife on the USB cable and pressing down gently-ish, just run the knife around, and that should score all the way through and you can pull off that outer cover. Now you're going to have a bunch of shielding, and we don't want that either. So grab the shielding, there's a little wire braid and there's some foil. Pull the foil off, get the braid all over one direction, and then you can sort of cut it off. Right, and then you've got 4 wires. You've got the black or the ground wire, you've got the red wire, which is plus 5 volts, and you've got your 2 data wires. Now we don't need the data wires, so pull them out to the side and snip them off. Cool. Now with this wire, I'm going to strip the insulation off, and I'm going to strip quite a bit of insulation off for a reason that I'll explain in just a second. So strip that insulation off, right, pull that wire away. Now that wire is very thin. These are single core sort of wire. And so to get them to sit nicely in our screw terminals, I'm going to just fold the wire back over itself a little bit, just to give that screw terminal something a bit more substantial to bite down on. So I'm just folding that up and just making these slightly fatter, slightly more irregular ends. Okay, so now you can grab your project, and you need to get those wires into those screw terminals. So I am going to back those screws out, turning them counterclockwise, and then I'm going to try and pop my wires into those little spots for the wire. And it turns out this is difficult. Alright, so once you finally get your wire into the screw terminal, right, you can take your screwdriver and you can tighten that down by turning the screw clockwise. And it should be firm, but finger tight, not crazy strength tight. And pop the black wire or the ground wire in there. Screw that up as well.